Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. I'm SquishyTheTitan, and welcome to part 4 of TRIHAYWBFRFYH. Now, I am sorry about the last video and not having a face cam. What happened is my webcam decided to crash. Well, the USB port that I have it plugged into and the USB extender kind of crapped out, so it disconnected and the software that I was recording with crashed. So I have changed the USB port it's plugged into, and it should be fine for this time, and you should be able to see my beautiful face. If not, then oh my god, I need to get a new webcam. Anyway, in the last video, we decided to take on the white pillars of light and the obelisks, and everything was just completely different again. I wasn't even expecting it to be that different, but once again, this game just surprised me, and it gave me black obelisks that were actually blocking my path much of the time. They were hindering my progression. Sometimes building completely around me, sometimes, you know, blocking my view of the next one so that I'd have to run around aimlessly trying to find it. But yeah, now we're gonna go for the final, this is gonna be the final TRIHAYWBFRFYH video, and then we're going to get the blue pillars of light. So their first one is way the hell over here. I gotta get running, and one thing I did say about in the last video at some point was I do have to turn the colors down when I do these videos, because in this, like, you may be able to see it reflected on my face, it is ridiculously orange. Like, it is painful to look at. If, like, my friend said that my friend Chris said that he wanted to play this with an Oculus Rift, but I would be blinded by that. I actually turned the colors down to about 70% in the videos, so what you're seeing is about 70% of the colors, or the 30% of the color has been drained. So you can imagine how colorful and how painful it is on my eyes. Alright, here's the first one, let's see.
The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all of its contents. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. The sciences, each straining in its own direction, have hitherto harmed us little. But someday, piecing together of disassociated knowledge will open up such terrifying vistas of reality and of our frightful position therein, that we shall either go mad from the revelation, or will flee from the deadly light into the peace and safety of a new dark age. I shall never knowingly supply a link in so hideous a chain. I think that the professor too intended to keep silent regarding the part that he knew, and that he would have destroyed his notes had not sudden death seized him.
Okay, so these are going to be more cynical and mourning. It seems like the blue parts are going to be more cynical and mourning than the other parts, which are more wondrous, and the white one was more mysterious.
My knowledge of the thing began in the winter of 1927 with the death of my granduncle, George Gamble Angel, Professor Emeritus of Semitic Languages in Brown University, Providence, Rhode Island. Professor Angel was widely known as an authority on ancient inscriptions and had frequently been resorted to by the heads of prominent museums. So this passing at the age of 92 may have been recalled by many. And as my granduncle's heir and executor, for he died a childless widower, I was expected to go over his papers with some thoroughness, and for that purpose, moved his entire set of files and boxes to my quarters in Boston. The first half of the principal manuscript told a very peculiar tale. It appears that on March 1st, 1925, a thin, dark young man of neurotic and excited aspect had called upon Professor Angel bearing a singular clay bas-relief, which was then exceedingly damp and fresh. His card bore the name of Henry Anthony Wilcox, and he called himself psychically hypersensitive. The sculptor abruptly asked for the benefit of the host's archaeological knowledge in identifying the hieroglyphics on the bas-relief. He said, "It is new indeed, for I made it last night in a dream of strange cities, and dreams are older than brooding Tyre, or the contemplative Sphinx, or the garden-girdled Babylon."
Okay, so these look to be black obelisks, but more cylindrical, which may suggest that they're sort of non-caring, more coexistent than the others. you know, I don't know how I get that feeling, but I just do, that they may be more like non-caring, more just coexistent than the other ones, which are either comforting, or, you know, hindrance, or, you know, demanding. Like, the diamonds were more comforting, more sheltering. The white ones were, you know, they were trying to hinder my progress, it seemed like, and then the other ones were demanding that I, you know, go to this rapture. This one may be coexisting.
It was then that he began that rambling tale which suddenly played upon a sleeping memory and won the fevered interest of my uncle. There had been a slight earthquake tremor the night before, and the most considerable felt in New England for some years, and Wilcox's imagination had been keenly affected. Upon retiring, he had the unprecedented dream of great cyclopean cities, of titan blocks and sky-flung monoliths, all dripping with green ooze and sinister with latent horror. Hieroglyphics had covered the walls and pillars, and from some undetermined point below came a voice that was not a voice. A chaotic sensation which only fancy would transmute into sound, but which he attempted to render by the almost unpronounceable jumble of letters.
I know it seems silly that I'm giving these obelisks, like, personalities, and I know it's gonna be completely stupid if I'm, like, completely wrong and they're just, you know, they have no personalities, they just pop up. But, you know, it does seem like every time that I've played, it does seem that they have had some sort of personality. Like, with the diamonds, they had the light inside them, like, right as I was being taken, they provided me, like, a sort of shelter. The white one, the black obelisks, they straight up, like, kept me from going places.
Average people in society and business, New England's traditional salt of the earth, gave an almost completely negative result. Those scattered cases of uneasy but formless nocturnal impressions appear here and there, always between March 23rd and April 2nd, the period of young Wilcox's delirium. Scientific men were modestly affected, but it was from the artists and the poets that pertinent answers came, and I know that panic would have broken loose had they been able to compare notes. As was lacking in their original letters, I half suspected the compiler of having asked leading questions, or of having edited the correspondence in corroboration of what he had latently resolved to see.
Okay, so these guys just popped up out of here. Or they just popped up out of nowhere. And what I mean by coexisting is like, or like a coexisting personality sort of, they're not popping up right next to me. Like, they're popping up very far in the distance. Like, you know, we don't really care that you're here, we're not really going to do anything, let us do us and you do you.
The responses from the estates told a disturbing tale. From February 28th to April 2nd, a large proportion of them had dreamed very bizarre things. The intensity of the dreams being immeasurably stronger during the period of the sculptor's delirium. Over a fourth of those who reported anything reported scenes and half sounds not unlike those which Wilcox had described. And some of the dreamers confessed acute fear of the gigantic nameless thing visible towards the last.
Okay, so it's gonna be ushering me, it seems like it's ushering me closer to these obelisks, which, I don't know, may anger them. They may get a bit more up in my face, but as it is, yeah, they're just kind of popping up very far away from me, not seeming to be any hostile, not really caring about my path, my progression. They're just kind of there, doing their own thing in their shapes. I do like this design though. Oh, I love this game. I cannot overstate it. There's not so much gameplay. It's a walking simulator, but you know, I really, the artistic factor of it and just, you know, the experience, it's just awesome.
His name was John Raymond LaGrosse, and he was by profession an inspector of police. With him, he bore the subject of his visit, a grotesque, repulsive, and apparently very ancient stone statuette, whose origin he was at a loss to determine. It must not be fancied that Inspector LaGrosse had the least interest in archaeology, and on the contrary, his wish for enlightenment had prompted by purely professional considerations. The statuette, idol, fetish, or whatever it was, had been captured some months before in the wooded swamps of South New Orleans during a raid of a supposed voodoo meeting. And so singular and hideous were the rites connected with it that the police could not but realize that they had stumbled on a dark cult totally unknown to them and infinitely diabolic.
Alright, now we're getting into the culty stuff.
There were legends of a hidden lake unglimpsed by mortal sight, in which dwelt a huge, formless, white, pulpous thing with luminous eyes. And squatters whispered that bat-winged devils flew up out of the caverns in the inner earth to worship it at midnight. They said it had been there before d'Iberville, before La Salle, before the Indians, and before even the wholesome beasts and birds of the woods. It was a nightmare itself, and to see it was to die. But it made men dream, and so they knew enough to keep away.
Yeah, that's Cthulhu. I think. Like I said, I was really into H.P. Lovecraft when I was in high school. I think I read all of these books, but again, that was 10, 11 years ago. So, I don't remember too much of it. I do remember some general themes like, and they live happily ever after. Just kidding, they're all dead or insane. And, you know, stuff like that.
Only poetry or madness could do justice to the noises heard by Legrasse's men as they plowed on through the black morass toward the red glare in the muffled tom-toms. There are vocal qualities peculiar to men and vocal qualities peculiar to beasts. And it is terrible to hear the one when the source should yield the other. Animal fury and orgiastic license here whipped themselves into demonic heights by howls and squawking ecstasies that tore and reverberated through those nighted woods like pestilential tempests from the gulfs of hell.
Yeah, these pillars are much more difficult to see because of the trees in the forests. Like, I still can't see it. I think I'm going in the right direction. But, yeah, the blue light, they're much more difficult to find. Because you have to go around the entire damn forest. But, yeah, I used to be really into H.P. Lovecraft. I read a lot of his books. Or I read a good number of books written by him. And I remember the stylings, like, everybody died or insane. There was really never a happy ending. And they had a very cynical style of writing, because I think H.P. Lovecraft actually hated the fact that people liked his books. He was very antisocial.
They worshipped, so they said,
what the fudge?
The great old ones, who lived ages before there were any men, and who came to the young world out of the sky. Whoa. Those old ones were gone now, inside of the earth.
Ow, my eyes!
But their dead bodies had told their secrets and dreams to the first men, who formed a cult which had never died. This was that cult, and the prisoners said it has always existed, and always would exist.
Oh my god.
Hidden in distant wastes and dark places all over the world, until the time when the great priest Cthulhu, from his dark house in the mighty city of Relay under the waters, should rise and bring the earth again beneath his sway. Someday, he would call, when the stars were ready, and the secret cult would always be waiting to liberate him.
Yeah, fagin. Cthulhu. Wow. Those colors just straight up just snapped in there, and that was really kind of painful. It was really kind of painful to look at. That is really kind of painful to look at. That is neon.
These ones were not composed altogether of flesh and blood. They had shape, for did not this star-fashioned image prove it? But that shape was not made of matter. When the stars were right, they can plunge from world to world through the sky. But when the stars were wrong,
is that Pride Rock?
Live. They all lay in stone houses in their great city of Relay, preserved by the spells of mighty Cthulhu for a glorious resurrection when the stars and the earth might once more be ready for them. But at that time, some force from outside must serve to liberate their bodies. The spells that preserved them intact likewise prevented them from making an initial move, and they could only lie awake in their dark and think, whilst uncounted millions of years rolled by. Even now they talk in their tombs. When, after infinities of chaos, the first men came, The great old ones spoke to the sensitive among them by molding their dreams, for only thus could their language reach the fleshy minds of mammals.
Okay, so that looks a lot like Pride Rock from Lion King. Oh my god, these colors are painful, but I love it. This is taking a completely different turn. And dear God, I mean, this is just really, it surprises me every single time I play this with how absolutely different it is each time.
I shall never sleep calmly again when I think of the horrors that lurk ceaselessly behind life in time and in space, and of those unhallowed blasphemies that form elder stars which dream beneath the sea, known and favored by a nightmare cult ready and eager to loose them onto the world whenever another earthquake shall heave their monstrous stone city again to the sun and the air.
Alright, I straight up cannot see the next one. I can't at all. Like, it is nowhere. Y'all are seeing what I'm seeing, and I am seeing nothing. I do not see a blue light at all. Wow. Good criminy. I mean, I turned the graphics up. I should be able to see pretty far. But there's nothing there. Alright, I'm gonna guess... I guess I'm gonna just go back this way. You know, I only got like 3 minutes before stuff starts happening. Like 3 or 4 minutes. But I don't know, I can't find this next guy. Or I can't find this next pillar. Is it just gonna be back over here where most of them have been? I'm gonna be pissed if it's all the way across the map again. But I don't know, instincts are telling me that it's gonna be back here again. Because this is where most of them have been. Most of the blue pillars have been. But I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be over yet. I wouldn't think it. Yeah, I should be able to see it. I mean, it's there's a very, very long draw distance for these pillars. But I don't know. I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, sorry if any of you were wondering if he walked behind me. That was Chris. Yeah, I'm just really, really into this game right now. I'm in the goddamn zone. I don't think I can conscientiously give this a rating. This isn't really a game, it's a walking simulator. There's no clear defined story or real gameplay. It's just kind of just literally the epitome of a walking simulator. You're just walking from point A to point B. But I really like how creative it is. It really is creative. All these visuals and the stories, especially the passage choices, kind of tell stories in their own. Like, they use parts of a story to tell a different story, I guess. And it's really creative, really artistic. That's really the best word you could use to describe this, is just artistic. It is a completely just artsy-fartsy artistic game. Beautiful game. Wonderfully, like, just put together. I basically have no complaints about it, but yeah, it's not for everyone. It's a very casual game. It's for people who are not very good at games. Yeah, I'm about to run out of time. Okay. So, I don't think there's another pillar. If there is, I'm screwed. Okay, there we go. There it goes. Watch me find it as soon as, like, I start getting taken. I'm gonna be pissed if I can't hear the part of a story. I am straight up going to be pissed. Anyway, damn. Where the hell is it? Does it even exist? Or have I just gone completely colorblind from, you know, staring at that grass? Because that's a definite possibility. No, I don't even think it's in existence anymore. I think it's just, you know, I think it's done. Dunzo. Oh wait, I never even checked on the obelisks. Yeah, these obelisks were much more passive than the others. These didn't even hinder my progress or, you know, come close to me. These weren't even, you know, these didn't even build themselves close to me. So that's pretty cool. I like that effect. Each one really did have its own personality, I guess you would call it. Each set of obelisks had their own personalities. They were all different, and each pillar of light produced different effects on the environment. And I think that's so cool, because with how big this, you know, world is, in comparison to the story and how long it's going to take you to play it, this world is huge. They built so much. The developer built so much. So much love and like care was put into this, and I'm going bye-bye. Alright. But so much love and care was put into this game, and I think it really paid off. I think it's a very, very good, very, very creative game. And I have never played anything like it, or quite like it, I should say. Okay, I'm ready. Take me home. Don't let me run into any trees, please. And I go bye-bye, and that's the end. That is the end of The Rapture is Here, and you will be forcibly removed from your home, otherwise known as TRIHAYWBFRFYH. I really, really liked that game. I can't really give it a rating just because it didn't have any clear. It had an objective, but it didn't have any defined story, and it was just a walking simulator. Basically, just walk from point A to point B and gather as much passages of H.P. Lovecraft as possible. But it was really, really good. I really, really enjoyed the experience. I have never played a game quite like that, and I think this is always going to stick with me with how creative and artistic and just all-out awe-inspiring it was. And I commend the developer highly. It's a fantastic game. I can't even really call it a game. It's a fantastic experience. So, I'm sad to have to see this one go. I really am. But, that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, leave a like down below, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends about me. I'm SquishyTheTitan, and I will see you in whatever I do next. Bye, guys!